Good afternoon. I'm Sean Yao, and this is One News Now. The first batch of vaccines from Chinese pharmaceutical company Sinovac will arrive on February 23. But the Food and Drug Administration has yet to approve its application for emergency use. Let's get the latest from Maricel Halili. She joins us live from Mandaluyong. Hi, Mase. How many doses are we expecting from Sinovac? And are all of these donated?
Hi, Sean. We're expecting about 600,000 doses of Sinovac to be
Sa bahay
delivered
si
by
Mahe?
February 23 to the country. Based on the statement of presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, he said that about 500,000 doses is allotted for the medical frontliners, while 100,000 doses of these Sinovacs are donated by the Chinese government. And they specifically mentioned that these 100 doses will be allotted for our military personnel.
All right, so what will happen to these vaccines if the emergency use application or EUA of Sinovac is still pending by that time? Will they be storing it, or will the government make sure that the EUA comes out in time?
Well, Secretary Roque, as well as other government officials, are optimistic that the emergency use authorization of Sinovac will be approved before the arrival. But should the documents are not completed, of course, our Food and Drug Administration has no other choice but to delay the approval of EUA. If that happens, Secretary Roque said that we will do what other countries did, wherein upon arrival, they will store the dosage or the doses of Sinovac for the meantime while waiting for the arrival or the approval of EUA. But if it so happens that the FDA will not approve the EUA, then we have no other choice but to return the doses of Sinovac.
All right. So Secretary Roque has confirmed that the FDA has approved the compassionate use of Sinopharm jabs among the PSG staff. Is this referring to what happened late last year? Can you tell us more?
Mhm. Secretary Roque, Sean, earlier mentioned that the FDA has approved the compassionate license of about 10,000 doses of Sinopharm, which will be given to the members of the Presidential Security Group. But he is not sure whether this is retroactive or not. If you recall, some members of the PSG have been vaccinated already with Sinopharm, even without the approval of FDA. It means that it was on their own at their own risk when they used the Sinopharm. So Secretary Roque is also not aware how the members of the PSG procured Sinopharm. All he can say is that FDA has approved the compassionate license for 10,000 doses of Sinopharm. Probably they chose Sinopharm because this is the same brand that was already used by the members of the PSG before.
All right, so having said all of that, are we still on track on the schedule of arrival in Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines through the COVAX facility? There's some word that there is some sort of delay. If so, how long?
Unfortunately, Sean, well, you're right. There might be a delay on the arrival of the doses of Pfizer and AstraZeneca, which will come from the COVAX facility. The initial statement or the initial information that the national government got from the COVAX facility is that the arrival of Pfizer will be on mid-February, mid this month. But it seems that there will be some delay. It was not articulated what was the cause of the delay, but obviously it's the decision of the COVAX facility. But Secretary Roque, as well as Secretary Vince Dizon, said that they hope that the COVAX facility can still deliver the Pfizer doses before the end of this month. So they expect probably around third or fourth week of February will be the arrival of Pfizer, but they cannot tell the exact date. All they can say is that Sinovac is expected to arrive on February 23. They are not sure whether Pfizer will come first before Sinovac or Sinovac will be the first brand to be delivered in the country.
All Right, I guess a lot of things still up in the air and no vaccinations until the vaccines definitely arrive on Philippine shores. Moving on now to another issue, of course, pork supply. What is the government's latest move on the issues of pork supply, pork products, and the price cap around the country?
Secretary Roque announced the decision of the president as well as other cabinet secretaries to have a food summit to discuss the impact of the price cap as well as the African swine fever and the inflation rate of our basic commodity. Of course, they will choose the areas that are most affected by these issues. But Secretary Roque cannot tell the exact date of the food summit. This will be the decision of the Agriculture Department, since the Agriculture Department will lead the said summit.
All right, now moving on to transport issues. This week we've heard several on transport issues. One of them, of course, the child car seat law. We, of course, can recall that the president said he's not in favor of this legislation. And so far, I think lawmakers have agreed to defer it pending a information campaign. What's the latest on this?
During the press briefing of Secretary Roque earlier this afternoon, he mentioned that the president decided to postpone the implementation of
That's
the
right. Can they run?
car seat law. His considerations are, well, number one, of course, we're still in crisis right now, so we have to be considerate to the public because this will be an additional expenditure or expenses for ordinary people. Now, it was asked earlier to Secretary Roque what was the legal basis of president for saying that the car seat law must be postponed, considering that this is a mandate of the legislative branch. Well, Secretary Roque mentioned that the statement of the president to postpone the implementation of the car seat law will be the basis of the lawmakers to amend the said law. So that's what Secretary Roque explained.
All right, another transportation issue of the week, the Motor Vehicle Inspection System, or MVIS. I think a lot of the senators already said they are not in favor. A lot of people are not in favor. They're saying it's anti-poor, especially now at the time of pandemic. It's bad timing. Did the palace have anything to say about this?
Well, apparently, President Duterte agrees to the senators. He decided not to implement the MVIS for now, since, like the car seat law, this will be an additional expenses to ordinary people. It means that following the decision of the president, there won't be any additional expenses for those who will register their vehicles. They will only pay the usual payment that they have to every time they register their vehicles.
All right, thank you so much for all those updates on all the different topics. Maricel Halili joining us live from Mandaluyong City. A health official from Quezon City says the manning agency of the UK variant patient from Cebu could be held liable. In an interview with One News Now, Dr. Rolly Cruz of the city's epidemiology unit said the agency allowed the patient to transfer to Quezon City. Cruz explained that the 35-year-old man was supposed to be under quarantine at a hotel in Manila until the release of his genome sequencing. In an earlier interview with One News's Agenda, Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere confirmed that the patient provided his hometown address. Vergere said further investigation and contact tracing are underway.
We are asking the local government of Manila to investigate the manning agency that's responsible for her, because the manning agency transferred the patient to Barangay Commonwealth during his supposedly quarantine period.
Now on to the issue of pork supply. We have hog dealers still scrambling to get cheaper supply amid the implementation of the price ceiling on meat in Metro Manila. Shaila Francisco walks us through the pork trade process in this report.
One News followed this dealer who traveled from Manila to Rosario, Batangas to buy hogs. He sought the help of an agent to find cheaper hogs in order to comply with the imposed price ceiling in Metro Manila.
Usapan natin 175.
175, opo.
Bigla nyo ginagawa 180. Nandito na kami sa ibaan.
But sometimes the deal falls through. One agent says her counterparts in areas not covered by the price cap are buying hogs at a higher price. This leaves them with no choice but to match the price lest they run out of supply.
Ngayon, yung additional na para today, nakuha din po na ibang biyahero dahil sinulot po. Area po na nanunulot is Binyan at saka Cavite. Dahil hindi po sila kasali sa, parang NCR lang po ang kasali. Opo, yun po, kaya po pumasok sila dito na higher than my price.
They had to go up the mountains to find hogs under the agreed price. Here, hogs are sold at 175 pesos per kilo. But dealers still have to monitor if there will be changes in prices. Since the trucks can't pass here, pigs had to walk from the mountains down to the truck that will bring them to Manila. It takes about 30 minutes of travel time, and in some cases, some of these pigs die. This results in losses for hog raisers. Raisers usually earn anywhere between 2,000 to 7,000 pesos, excluding other fees. This is just enough to help them recover from losses to the African swine fever and the costs of piglets and feeds, which have already doubled. The dealer adds a 5 peso locator fee and 10 pesos when sold to retailers. Hog dealers can earn 8 pesos per kilo. Additional fees are incurred since they are required to pay in 2 animal checkpoints for disinfection to prevent ASF in the area. Dealers say they are now sacrificing just to comply with the policy, especially since operations last almost 24 hours every day.
Sila po ang nagdidikta ng presyo.
Anong ginagawa nyo lang?
Abay, pag hindi kami sumunod sa presyo nila, wala kami ititinda.
From a slaughterhouse in Cainta, Rizal, the hogs are being transported to the Paco market at 4 a.m., more than 16 hours after the purchase. At this point, some hogs weigh lighter, which means losses for the dealer. With additional payment for permit and slaughter of hogs, retailers are getting 240 pesos from wholesalers and dealers. This results in prices above the price ceiling. But aside from high prices, they say the deliveries arrive late.
Paano po yung pasahod po sa mga tao at yung mga expenses po? Hindi nakakayanin. Tinatry po namin, kaya lang yun po yung reason nila, malayo yung kinukuhanan at pahirapan. Tapos kaya niyan, tinatanghali na sila na kasi ang hirap maghanap ng baboy. Wala na ibang sugi, nag-back out na.
They say they can comply with the price cap as long as the government provides subsidy, have less middlemen and more supply, all of which have been time and again promised by the Agriculture Department. Until these are provided by the government, hog raisers, dealers, agents, and retailers will continue to grapple with the price cap. Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
All right, it's Chinese New Year tomorrow, and in Binondo, Manila, preparations for the celebration of the Lunar New Year is in full swing. But just like our recent holiday festivities, the atmosphere has changed due to the pandemic. Romel Lopez joins us live from Binondo to tell us all about it. Romel, Kyunghi Huatsai, how is the situation there in Binondo? Is it a little bit quiet, I think, compared to previous years?
Yes, Sean, happy Chinese New Year to you too. But it's true that compared to how the previous Lunar New Year celebration have been staged, this time around the festivities here in Chinatown is a little bit lackluster. To begin with, this year's celebration will have to do without the traditional dragon or lion dance that usually sets the tone of the festivities. The LGU banned such events, including those stage shows, street party, and parades to prevent the spread of COVID-19 virus. Back then, streets were filled with merrymakers and shoppers, but now Chinatown streets are almost empty. Lucky Charms stores are also feeling the effect of the pandemic since customers no longer frequent their shops. One store owner told us that many of their customers are still afraid to go out due to the virus and opted to transact online instead. One feng shui expert said that despite the last year's hardship, 2021 will be a better year, citing the availability of vaccines will help the economy to move forward as well. The year of the ox, he said, will be a better year compared to last year in general. Lucky Charms price are still the same, ranging from 200 pesos to 500 pesos. For those who are into Lucky Charms, money tree is a must to attract the fortune this year. Sean, Tikoy sales are still picking up despite the pandemic, but compared to last year's sales, it is still a little bit off. But as they say, no amount of charm will bring us luck if we don't work hard every day. Sean?
Truer words have never been said. Kyonghihuatsay again, Romel Lopez reporting to us live from Binondo in Manila. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao, and we are One News.